Hey everyone, this is Pastor Jeremy, and in today's revelation, I'm going to be talking about becoming a living sacrifice. Let's do this. Paul writes in Romans, I appeal to you, therefore, siblings, by the mercy of God, to present your bodies as living sacrifices, holy and acceptable to God, which is your spiritual act of worship. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you may discern what the will of God is, what is good and acceptable and perfect. Part of being a steward is sacrifice. And a sacrifice is the act of giving up something you value for the sake of something you regard as more worthy. Everything about you, your time, your talents, your treasures, your relationship, absolutely everything is a living sacrifice, a living offering to God. And you do this by having God direct you according to God's will. There are ways to discern God's will so that you can become a living sacrifice. In order to discern God's will, you have to be able to hear from God, and that begins by praying regularly. This means sitting in silence, talking to God, and most importantly, listening to God in the silence. You also got to read scripture. The best way to know God's will is to see how God has worked in the past, specifically through Jesus. And lastly, be a part of a Christian community. Praying and reading scripture are good, but community is vital to discerning God's will. We need other people to pray and to read scripture too, so that we can all talk about what we think God is calling us to do as we make our way forwards as living sacrifices. Friends, present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God. Be transformed by the renewing of your minds so that you may discern what the will of God is. Peace.